Today, we're diving into this really fascinating study that basically spies on the lives of college students. It's trying to figure out the hidden links between their day-to-day habits, how stressed out they are, and of course, what grades they get at the end of the day. And let me tell you, the results might completely flip your idea of what it takes to succeed.
So let's just jump right in with a question that kind of goes against everything we're taught. We always think of stress as the bad guy, right? The enemy of doing well. But what if a little bit of it, or even a lot of it, is actually the secret sauce for getting good grades?
Okay, take a look at this. This chart is the whole reason we're talking about this today. It's the central mystery. It shows that the students who reported the highest levels of stress also had the highest average GPAs. And the students with low stress, they had the lowest grades. So, what on earth is going on here?
To figure this out, we're going to break it down into 4 parts. First, we'll dig into this stress paradox. Then, we'll get nosy and look at the daily habits of these students. After that, we'll connect all the dots to see the big picture, and finally, we'll wrap up with a practical blueprint for success based on everything we find.
All right, section 1, the stress paradox. So this idea that high stress could lead to high performance, it's not as nuts as it sounds. There's actually a term for it, eustress. Think of it as positive stress, the kind that gets you focused, gets you motivated, and helps you rise to a challenge.
Moving on to section 2, your daily habits. To really understand this paradox, we have to look at what these students are actually doing every day. Let's examine the lifestyle factors that are driving these results.
First on the list is something we all want more of, sleep. How does the amount of sleep students are getting play into all of this? Let's see. And right away, we see a really clear trade-off. The data here shows that the high-stress students are sleeping on average a full hour less every single night compared to their classmates. They are literally sacrificing sleep.
Now, this is where it gets super interesting. All the existing research tells us that less sleep should mean worse performance, right? It makes it hard to concentrate. So our high-stress, high GPA students are somehow succeeding despite getting less sleep. The plot thickens.
Okay, let's look at another piece of the health puzzle, exercise. Are we going to see a similar pattern here?
Oh yeah, the pattern is not just similar, it's even stronger. Students with low stress spent almost double the time on physical activity compared to the high-stress group. It really seems like when the academic pressure is on, hitting the gym is one of the first things to get cut.
So if these top students are sacrificing sleep and they're sacrificing exercise, where is all that time going? I have a feeling you can probably guess.
And there it is. This is the absolute key. The students with high stress, who were hitting the books for 8 to 10 hours a day, those were the ones pulling in the top GPAs. We're talking 3.3 up to 3.7. This is the core of their strategy.
All right, there's one more big time suck we have to look at in the modern world, social media. How does that fit into the equation?
So the difference isn't massive, but you know what? It fits the pattern perfectly. The high-stress, high-achieving students are also trimming back their time scrolling through social media, probably shifting that focus and time over to their schoolwork.
Okay, time for section 3, connecting the dots. Let's put all these pieces of the puzzle together and finally solve this thing.
This table basically lays it all out for us. You can see that super strong positive link between study hours and GPA, right there at the top. But look at everything else. Physical activity, sleep, social media, they all have a negative correlation with GPA. Now this doesn't mean they're bad, it just means that time is finite, and an hour spent sleeping or at the gym is an hour not spent studying.
This is the number that unlocks the entire puzzle, 0.73. In the world of statistics, a correlation this close to 1 is huge. It shows an incredibly powerful direct link between two things. And in our case, it's the link between hours spent studying and grades. It is, without a doubt, the most important factor in this whole equation.
And so it all comes down to this really fundamental choice, a trade-off that every student faces. You only have so many hours in a day. You can choose to pour that time into studying to get a higher GPA, but it's going to cost you. The cost is less sleep, less exercise, and yeah, higher stress. Or you can choose to prioritize a more balanced lifestyle, which means lower stress, but it'll probably come at the cost of a lower GPA.
Okay, so what do we do with this information? That brings us to our final section. Section 4, a blueprint for success. Let's turn these insights into something we can actually use.
The study gives some really clear, actionable advice.
First, teach students better time management so they can study more efficiently. Second, run campaigns that really hammer home how important sleep and health are. Third, make it easier for students to be active through sports and clubs. And finally, offer some real guidance on how to manage digital distractions. It's all about working smarter, not just harder.
So in the end, this whole thing shows us there isn't one single right answer for everybody. It's an equation, and you control the variables. So the real question, the one I want to leave you with, is a personal one. When you look at your own life, your grades, your health, your time, how are you going to balance the equation?